Welcome. You're on the Fringe Show. I'm your host, Tatiana Zalan, and I go live every Friday at 2 p.m. Dubai time. The Fringe is about our future, science, technology, art, economy, and society. I help you to navigate the rapidly changing world and uncertain future so that you too can take advantage of the opportunities and make better decisions. Only the lazy ones on social media haven't commented on Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. Interpretations of the consequences of the acquisition range from a big win for democracy and free speech, saving humanity, to becoming a web3 business or a super app like WeChat. So, what is, after all, Musk's strategy? And this is exactly the question that is the focus of today's episode. Disclaimer, as the usual disclaimer before we go any further, the views are my own and they do not represent the official views of any of the organizations I'm associated with or work for. The Fringe Show is for educational purposes only, and this is not investment advice either. On the 28th of October 2022, Musk tweeted, "The bird is free." And interpretations of what has happened and popular reactions included a lot of things that I've just mentioned. But in Musk's letters to advertisers, which was last week, he said, "The reason I acquired Twitter is because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence." And then he goes on to say that I didn't do it, acquired Twitter to make more money. I did it to try to help humanity, whom I love, and I do so with humility, recognizing that failure in pursuing this goal, despite our best efforts, is a very real possibility. So one is, as many commentators and analysts have said, it's a big win for democracy, free speech, saving humanity. Number two interpretation included, well, Web2 platforms like Twitter is going to become a Web3 platform with some elements of it. Musk is going to introduce crypto for payments. NFTs will be traded and profile pictures are already allowed. So these are some of the elements of Web3. Twitter has always been crypto friendly. That's true. Founder and former CEO Jack Dorsey is an ardent Bitcoin supporter, as many of you in the space will know. And the platform allows verification for NFT profile pictures. Binance, the largest crypto exchange, has become a minority shareholder. It invested about $500 million, and that's just over 1% of the stake. Other investors, by the way, in case you're interested, include the big weights like Sequoia Capital and Qatar Investment Authority. So that's the second kind of take on what Musk is trying to do. The third one is, well, maybe it wants to become a super app like WeChat, and we'll discuss it a little bit further. There are even suggestions that Musk doesn't even know what he's doing. That's from an ex-Twitter VP quoted in The Guardian just this Saturday. After all, what is Musk's plan for one of the most significant Web2 platforms? And this is what I would like to focus on and give it a little bit of a strategic perspective rather than just what happened, what are the actions he's taking. Well, I personally don't buy into saving humanity because he could have funded the development of a brand new Web3 platform for much less money. Remember, he paid $44 billion for this. And of course, platform stickiness, I understand this, and everyone will probably be with me on that particular point. Platform stickiness has always been a problem. But Musk has more than 100 million followers on Twitter, and I'm convinced that a very large proportion of these followers would have joined him and would have switched to a new platform. Web2 platforms survive on advertising and selling user data, and clearly this will continue. Musk's letter probably was a reaction to a handful of very influential advertisers stopping to advertise on Twitter. How many more corporations supporting Democrats will leave or threatening to leave? So far, this acquisition has made advertisers very nervous. And just recently, General Mills, Mondelez, Pfizer, Audi, Volkswagen, they all joined the list of very large advertisers who paused their ads because of this acquisition. And mind you, ad revenues of Twitter are about 90% of all revenues, so they're clearly very important. So the reasons for Twitter's acquisition, I would argue, must be quite different from saving humanity. We can really cross this out. To understand the purpose of this acquisition, we really need to look a little bit deeper, look at some numbers first, and then go on to what's actually the strategy that Elon Musk is pursuing. So let's have a look at Twitter user statistics, and then at some financial performance, as well as Twitter competitors. So worldwide monetizable daily active users, the so-called MDAUs, that's a key metric in many of the social media platforms. In Q4 2021, that was 217 million, and that number was an increase from the previous year. In the US, almost 50% of Twitter users say that they use Twitter daily. 2/3 of Twitter users are between 35 and 65-year-old, most live in urban areas. People who use Twitter mostly have college degrees and more even, and they earn very good incomes, which is definitely favorable for advertisers. And according to Pew Research, in the US, Twitter users are much younger, more educated, and generally more likely to be Democrats than general public. The leading countries that are currently using Twitter are the US, of course, but then Japan and India. Almost 2/3 of Twitter users are male, and the rest are, or 29%, or about 30%, are female. Now to the financials. Twitter stock has unfortunately underperformed the broader market since going public in 2013. It initially aimed to touch some 400 million MAUs, or monthly active users, by the end of 2013, but it missed the target by a very large margin. And the company then replaced its key MAU metric with monetizable active users to exclude all inactive or spam accounts. Like Meta, YouTube, and other Web2 social media platforms, Twitter is a multi-sided platform, which means that in benefits to advertisers will only be there if there is a large user base. So the more users, the more benefits for advertisers, at least. Twitter has struggled, unfortunately, to match the performance of competitors. And since its initial public offering in 2013, the company's stock has gone down. Attracting users had been a real problem for Twitter, and mainly it's probably due to poor user experience. Mind you, 500 million tweets are sent every day. And despite having or sitting on this heap of data to go on, Twitter has really never been great at translating those insights into a more engaging and compulsive tweet experience, maybe like TikTok. And due to this, it hasn't been able to attract as many advertisers as, for example, YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Overall, the next few years will be crucial for Web2 social media companies. Everybody understands that, because continuing to grow users and ad platforms will be vital to their success. And yet we're sort of right now in a very unfavorable macroeconomic climate. Plus, there are many other Web3 platforms that are popping up right now. Many platforms such as Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat have begun implementing features imitating TikTok after seeing its rapid rise in popularity. Now on to some financial statistics even more. Let's look at the revenues. Revenues for Twitter rose in 2021 to just over $5 billion. And analysts expect that Twitter's revenues will rise 16% this year, up to almost $6 billion. And in 2023, that's next year, we're expecting Twitter to rise 22%. That's over $7 billion. Generally, 2021 was not a very good year for Twitter. It posted a net loss of 221 million, and that red ink was mainly caused by one-time litigation charge. If we do exclude this litigation charge and maybe other one-off expenses, it generated a net profit of 165 million, or 20 cents per share. Twitter has two major competitors, and that's Meta and TikTok. Let's have a look where Twitter is relative to these two. Well, when Elon Musk announced he was planning to buy Twitter, he also said he wanted to increase annual revenues to 26 billion by 2028, and that's today, it's 5 billion. He plans to increase the number of Twitter users to 931 million and increase the average revenue per user from 22, as it is today, to 30. Meta, by contrast, generated these kinds of revenues. 118 billion in revenues compared to Twitter's 5 billion. It has almost 3 billion active users. Twitter has 230 million. And if you look at the revenue per user, which is probably a more important metric, Meta has $41 and Twitter is only making 22. That's twice less than Meta. So it's not a very favorable comparison. If we look at TikTok, then the comparison is even less favorable. TikTok at the moment has got 755 million monthly users, and that's way ahead of Snap and Twitter. TikTok over the past couple of years has been growing really quickly. I'm sure you've noticed this. The short-term video app crossed almost 2 billion downloads across the App Store and Google Play. Twitter is focusing on the millennials. TikTok's target audience is Gen Z. Younger generation, generally, if you look at the trends, is leaving for messengers like TikTok and WhatsApp and WeChat. And this is precisely this younger generation that is of more interest to brand advertisers. TikTok is expected to generate some 11 billion in advertising revenues for 2022. Twitter and Snapchat's combined revenues, by the same token, are a lot less than TikTok's alone. Twitter is an old platform. It was founded in 2006, and it's heavily reliant on text, not videos. And it's precisely videos that are the most often viewed content, as you would know from YouTube shorts and Instagram shorts. And in September this year, Twitter announced 2 new video-focused features, finally, and one of those features bears a strong resemblance to TikTok. That feature, known as the immersive video viewer, allows users to open videos in a vertical full-screen mode, just like TikTok, and continue to view more videos by just swiping up. And that's like TikTok as well. The second new video-focused feature that Twitter announced is a video carousel that can be found in the Explore tab. You will find it on the left-hand side on the Twitter app. And basically, it's a section called Videos for You that displays a series of popular videos that you might want to check out. Now that we understand where Twitter stands against its competitors, let's have a look at Musk's portfolio. Well, who is Musk? He is the founder, CEO, and chief engineer of SpaceX. It's a large US defense contractor. He's an angel investor. He's a CEO and product architect of Tesla. He's the founder of Boring Company, co-founder of Neuralink and OpenAI, and president of Musk Foundation, and now owner and CEO of Twitter. So his portfolio spans space travel, satellites, transport, neuroscience, and social media. Now let's see, what is he trying to do with the acquisition of Twitter? When executives acquire companies, this is a little bit of corporate strategy 101 for you. The most frequently heard word is probably synergies. This is what the media are talking about. CEOs, what they acquire, we're expecting synergies, cost synergies, revenue synergies. Synergies is generally the most effective way to add value above and beyond what could be achieved if the businesses were separate. If we assume that every business is a collection of discrete activities or value activities, as we call it in strategy, then corporate value in that way can be added by either transferring skills between activities, such as know-how, technology, or sharing activities. There's no reason to believe that this is what Musk intends to do, because the other businesses in his portfolio have to be sufficiently similar in terms of strategies, activities, customers, distribution channels, technologies, and so on and so forth to realize these synergies. So we can sort of cross this out. What about restructuring? That's another strategy that companies acquiring other companies are doing. That's the game of private equity players. Private equity's sweet spot is acquisitions that have been either undermanaged or perhaps undervalued, and where there's a one-time opportunity to increase a business's value. And once the gain has been realized, private equity firms will sell for a maximum return. Underperforming businesses are restructured, non-productive assets are stripped out, and the performance of the productive assets is enhanced by managerial improvements, new management, change in strategy. And so the game of private equity players is a strategy of buy cheap or buy undermanaged companies, turn around and sell at a premium. Private equity usually use a huge amount of debt to support the acquisition. Do you think this sounds more like Elon Musk? And he's already done most of what private equity players would have done. He's fired top management, that's CEO, CFO, and of course legal counsel, plus he's threatening to fire 70% of the workforce. And indeed he did with 50% of the workforce just last week. He dissolved the board of directors, exactly what you would expect a change manager to do. He's introducing improvements like content moderation council to discuss major content decisions or account reinstatements. He's also introducing new ways of monetization, which is linked to the verification of the account. And now all of us who are using Twitter, me including, will have to pay $8 per month now available to all and not just to select a few. And many people are okay with that. Some people are not. So there is a lot of discussion about this monetization strategy as well. He's also bringing back Twitter's discontinued short form video app Vine, getting rid of character limits in tweets, allowing advertisers to pay to send users direct messages. And so these are some of the steps that Elon Musk is now undertaking. And then there is this option of making Twitter a super app, more like WeChat, a Chinese super app, with e-commerce and banking all in one app. So he's trying to do something like X, the everything app. You basically live on WeChat in China because it's so useful and so helpful in your daily life. And indeed, Musk himself said that if you could achieve that, becoming a super app, or even close to that with Twitter, it could be an immense success. These are his own words. WeChat has done many things right, but there is a one big but if we compare it to Twitter. At its core, it's a messaging app, which makes it fundamentally different from Twitter, which is a social media platform. A chat app means it's extremely sticky. WeChat is a ubiquitous messenger in China. It has 1.3 billion users. People go on Twitter for very different reasons. They go there to consume information rather than talk to people they know in real life. Now, does Twitter want to compete with WhatsApp, Messenger, Telegram, and others? That means a complete direct change of the business model. The most interesting question to me is, well, will Musk succeed? And no doubt this acquisition will test his ability as a change manager. And he's a very different person, very different kind of a business executive. He's been a pioneer and a founder, and that requires a completely different skill set. On the other hand, Twitter as a social media platform is ideal for hype. And this is precisely what Musk is exceptionally gifted with. Remember his bathroom sink when he walked into the headquarters of Twitter after the takeover. But perhaps Musk can recruit really good change managers. At the moment, there are a lot of empty seats at the top of Twitter, and Musk has to bring in top talent to succeed with the turnaround. Musk is taking the company private, exactly what private equity buyers would have done. And what is likely, do you think, to happen then? This is what I think. Musk will increase Twitter's cap by 2 or 3 times. It will sell it off in 3-4 years after a period of improvement, just like private equity players will do, or exit through an IPO and make probably another 50 billion for himself in the meantime. And of course, private investors will benefit too. And here are a couple of concluding thoughts from me. I don't think Twitter will become a Web3 platform. All these changes that look like Web3 are just really cosmetic. Monetization for creators is not on the agenda, and that's one of the most distinguishing features of Web3. Users are not going to own their own data under Musk, and again, that's not Web3. As all Web2 businesses, it's value extractive. Twitter farms our data. It employs then machine learning, artificial intelligence to figure out user behavior and sell it to companies without users profiting from that. Twitter was an underperforming Web2 business, and it will benefit from restructuring and change management. Consequences for the acquisitions for users and advertisers? Well, I believe that probably Twitter will change for the better. Investors will benefit should the restructuring efforts succeed. And in the meantime, a competing platform, Mastodon, has gained 70,000 new signups as users from Twitter migrated to it. And Mastodon is very different. It's decentralized. No one owns it. There is another new kid on the block from Lens Protocol. It's a new decentralized Web3 business, and I'm going to have a show about it as well, because it's an interesting development in this Web3 space. Well, this is all from me for today, and thank you very much for joining. I hope you picked something up, and we now understand what Elon Musk is trying to do to Twitter. And Twitter is, as I said, a very important Web2 platform. So it's worth paying attention to what's happening here. Thank you for joining again, and I'll see you again in a week's time at 2 p.m. Friday, Dubai time, 2 p.m. Thank you so much.